So we're in a limo with these strangers who are feeding us bottles and bottles of expensive champagne, and then he hands us a fat stack of bills. And all I'm thinking is, nobody is going to believe the wild night that I am having right now. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you are seeing my face. Thank you for clicking on it. My name is JC, and I have the story time to end all story times today. First, I must make a confession. I have lied to you guys. I did a little fib, and I'm going to fess up to it now. So you remember how I did my 30 before 30 bucket list, where I wanted to do 30 really cool things before I turned 30? That one's actually over on my vlog channel. Terrific series, go check it out. But one of the things that I always wanted to do that I'd never done before was ride in a limo. And so on my 30th birthday, I actually went skydiving the morning of, went home at night, and my family took me out in a limo for dinner, and I completed the bucket list on my birthday. However, I must confess, I actually had been on a limo just a few months prior for the very first time. But unfortunately, the story is so crazy, it is so out of character for me that I promised nobody would ever find out what a debaucherous night that limo night turned into. But I'm here to tell you guys the story today because it is such an insane story, and my friends have been begging me to tell it on my channel for years, and I just haven't, because you guys have to promise not to judge me. You guys know I'm a good girl, I'm a good person. This night turned so crazy. It's such an LA story that I'm worried you guys are gonna be disappointed in me. But I don't care anymore. I'm telling you guys this story because it is just too insane to not be told. But you guys have to believe me, and you have to forgive me, okay? We cool, we cool. But I like to do story times on this channel, and if you like this video as it's going along, make sure to comment and let me know your thoughts, because this one gets insane. So with that being said, let's just hop right into this story time of how a night in a limo turned into the wildest night of my entire life. All right, so let me first set the stage. This happened a couple of years ago when I was an ice cream scooper at a very fancy ice cream shop. And I loved that job. I loved just going and turning off my brain and scooping ice cream and getting a paycheck for it. That was wonderful. But this was also the time period where my mental health was really declining, where I was kind of just giving up on life. And I kind of just started partying. Now, partying to me is, I would like to go out dancing. Like, I just like dancing, essentially. And I would drink, get drunk, and go out partying. And it wasn't often by any means. It was just like, you know, once a week or once every other week. But like, when I went out hard. I was like, if I'm drinking, I'm getting drunk. And I do attribute that to like my declining mental health and just kind of giving up on everything. You know, it's like, well, there's nothing else to do, so I might as well cope as best as I can and go out with a bang. Not literally, though, you guys. I went to therapy, okay? We're good now, we're good. So needless to say, I was going out a lot, and I would always come back into the ice cream shop, and I'd tell my coworkers about like the crazy weekend I had, that the crazy party I went to, or how I went dancing, and it would turn into a wild night. And so my coworkers were like, I want to go out with you, like, you sound fun. And I was like, I don't know if I want to take this relationship outside the scoopin' shop, but maybe. Now, there was one coworker that I actually really liked. She was my favorite coworker, and I was like, you know what, we actually should go out. You are a really fun time. So we will call her Marissa. And Marissa, she also had that like party girl vibe. She was just like all around good energy that I was like, we'll have a lot of fun. So we like planned to go out one night, and we ended up inviting another coworker along who we will call Ellie. Now, Ellie had put in her notice that she was going to be quitting in a month or two, and she was going off to college. And Ellie was this straight edge, rule-following good girl. She reminded me so much of myself when I was in high school and I was in college. I feel like I kind of took her under my wing, but she was such a goody two-shoe at work that I was like, oh, I don't care about all that anymore. Like, you do you, but I don't care about following the rules that much anymore. I'm just here for the check. So we told her we're going out. She's like, oh, can I come out? And we're like, Ellie, like, you want to come out drinking alcohol with us? Okay, like, if you think you can hang. And she was just like, yeah, you know, it's my last month in town. Like, you're always telling these fun stories. Like, I could use a fun night out. And we're just like, hell yeah, let's do it. So it's a Saturday night, and we're like, all right, let's just go bar hopping. Like, we'll go to this one bar, we'll see where the night takes us, sort of thing. And I remember very specifically, we were going to a couple of bars that none of us had ever been to. We kind of all lived in the same area, but we're like, let's explore a little bit. Let's see if we can find some new spots we can go check out. So the first spot we went to, I remember it was like a fun little speakeasy where they had a hidden entrance that they kind of tricked you and bamboozled you. And it was like, haha, you got us. And then you walk in, and then it's the bar. So we go there, we get a couple drinks, but there wasn't wasn't a lot of dancing. We're like, no, we want to dance. Like this was just kind of more of a loungy hangout area. So let's go to the next bar. So we look up, we Yelp a place to go to, we go to the next bar, and we walk in, and it was good vibes. It was good music. I remember it was disco themed. Like they were playing ABBA and like 70s EDM remixes. They had disco balls everywhere. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the spot. So we go there, we get another drink, and we're dancing on the dance floor, and we're kind of looking around, and we're like, oh, like it's like a 70s theme in here. But so was the clientele, because the audience on the dance floor, they skewed much older than we were. And we were kind of looking around going like, oh, we're like the cute, young, hot, fun ones, because everyone else here is having a middle-aged crisis. Actually, no shade. I will go dancing into my 60s, especially in WeHo, where like age discrimination is not a thing. People just like to go out and have fun. That's gonna be me. I just like to dance. I don't even drink that much anymore. I just want to dance. So actually, no shade to them. But at the time, shade to them. I was throwing shadows at those old folks. So the three of us are dancing, and there's a table, like people reserve tables like and pay for it. So there's this one table where like this group, they call us over, they're like, hey, like come sit with us, come dance with us. And we're like, no, it's okay. And they're like, we got bottle service. Like, come, we got free drinks. And we're like, okay. Like, again, you guys, free is my favorite number. So we're hanging out with this table, and we're just hanging out with a bunch of like, 40, 50-year-old people. And they just start handing us champagne, and we're just like, oh, heck yeah. We're dancing, we're having a good time. And they're just like, you guys seem super fun. And we're like, yeah, we are. So there's maybe about like 10 to 15 people at this table, and we're just hanging out, and I'm checking in with Marissa and Ellie, and Marissa's having a great time. She's just like, this is the best night of my life already. We're getting free drinks like already, JC. Your reputation precedes you. Thank you for showing us a great night out. And Ellie, she's again very shy. She's very reserved and introverted. And so I'm just checking in on her, making sure like, hey, you okay? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm fine, having a good time. She was drinking, she was socializing, and it was really nice to see her come out of her shell, because it was just like, oh, like the little baby bird is flying out of the nest and getting turned at a disco club. Go you, go you. So we're sitting there drinking, and we're kind of like, all right, I think our time's up here. Like we either want to go dancing somewhere else, or like maybe just wrap this up and get to a younger crowd. So as we're setting up to leave, the guy whose table it was, he was like, actually, we're going to head to the next spot, and we have a limo outside. Do you guys want to come with us? And so all of a sudden we perk up, because we're like, a limo, you say? What are you, James Bond over here? I've never been in a limo, and I'm actually doing a bucket list right now where I promised myself I would take a limo ride for the first time in my life this year. I don't know, you guys. All I'm thinking is maybe? And so I go to Marissa and I go to Ellie and I say, hey, you guys, they just invited us out on their limo. How would you guys feel about going to the next spot with them in their limo? And I kind of half expected, again with Ellie, this goody two-shoe, like really smart, responsible, logical girl, I expected her to be like, no, that's dangerous. Like, no, we can't hop into a stranger's car. What if it's not a limo? What if he's an axe murderer and is gonna drive us to the beach and dump our bodies? Like, I don't know about that. But you know what Ellie said? She said, yeah, why not? And I was like, oh my God, really? Like, okay, Marissa, are you down? And she's just like, you know what? Heck yeah, why not? And so I'm just kind of like shaking my head being like, you know what, you guys? You miss 100% of the Bajas you don't blast. Let's hop into this stranger's limo and see where the night takes us. So we all start kind of like leaving the bar, and we see the limo pull up. We're like, okay, it's legit. They have a limo. You guys, I'm about to go into my first limo ride ever. And side note, I put this on my bucket list because do you remember in like elementary school where you'd have to sell like gift wrap or chocolates, and the more you sold, the better the prize would be? One of the best prizes for my school was a limo ride to Dave & Buster's. And you guys, I tried every single year, and I just could not sell enough tubes of wrapping paper to get myself on that limo. And I yearned for 30 years to finally get into a stretched vehicle. And now here it was right in front of me on a crazy night out. And I said, thank you, gods, for blessing me with a free limo ride right now. All of my dreams are about to come true. Sort of, because it gets crazy. So as we're waiting for the limo, we noticed that the crowd that was at the table, they didn't follow us out. It was just the husband and the wife whose table it was. And I'll be referring to them as the husband and the wife. And so we're just like, hey, where's everybody else? And they're like, oh, we didn't invite them. We only invited you guys. We're about to go to a strip club right now. Would you like to come? So now the game has changed. Right away, as soon as we exited the bar, we're like, uh-oh, the stakes just got upped. But again, I'm looking at Marissa, I'm looking at Ellie, and we were all in so deep. And again, we're pretty tipsy at this point, but we're just like, we already committed to a crazy night out. It's about to get crazier, but like, I'm down if you guys are down. Nobody wants to be the first one to back out. So yeah, I guess we're gonna hop into this limo with just this couple and go to a strip club. Golly, this video might get demonetized. So we're like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. So we hop in this limo with just this couple. Now, I would like to point out that this couple, they were in their like maybe 50s or so. They were, however, a very attractive couple, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. They were attractive, and that might be foreshadowing, but we get in the limo and they just start handing us bottles of champagne. And I took one look at that bottle and I turned to Ellie and I said, Ellie, I think that's really expensive champagne. We need to drink that. It was, I don't even know how to say it, Veuve Clicquot. Veuve Clicquot. It was this yellow bottle. And I actually don't know how expensive this is. I'm not a champagne drinker, but I do know that when I worked at a hotel, we served this champagne for like all of the fancy VIP events. And so that's where my brain went was, that's expensive. I need to get my money's worth. So I'm sitting there in a limo, strobe lights are going, we're blasting music, and I just start downing champagne because I'm trying to get the biggest bang for my buck. Gosh, I am so cheap. So we're talking to this couple and we're just like, so what's your deal? Are you guys fucking rich or something? Like, do you own a helicopter too? What's going on here? And they start telling us that like, oh, we do this like once a month or like once every couple of weeks just to get away from the kids and have ourselves like a wild night out. It's just to like fully decompress from the stresses of life. And we're like, okay, you got a kid and you guys, you sound really wealthy. Like what they were describing, they sounded really rich. And so I was just like, you know what? Pamper me, you guys. Just pamper me if that's what you want to do. Feed me champagne and tell me I'm pretty. I'll take it. And they did. They told us, they invited us along because we were young and attractive. And we're like, oh shoot, okay, so it worked. All right, we'll take what we can get. But as we're on the limo, I start noticing that husband and wife, they start getting a little bit more like touchy and feely with us three. And you know, they're starting to stroke our leg, get a little bit closer to us. And I was just like, we're gonna put a pin on that. We're gonna come back to that later. So then we finally arrive to the strip club. And I've been before, but not like this. Mom, if you're watching, turn it off now. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm sorry. Before you guys, this is where you have to believe me. This is where the night gets insane. Before we walk into the strip club, husband hands us each a stack of bills. And he goes, all right, ladies, let's have a good time. My eyes get wide. It is a fat stack of dollar bills he just hands each of us. And I look and I kind of start counting. I kind of start estimating. I can't sit there and be like, 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got a $5 bill in here. Oh, a 20, high roller. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I was just trying to play it cool. He handed us each at least $200 in singles and said, all right, you guys, let's go have ourselves a ripping and roaring time. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most LA thing that's already ever happened to me. Where is this night going? So at this point, I am drunk. I am sufficiently inebriated. I am off on the silly goose juice. And this is kind of like where things start to become a blur. But we all walk in with our bills. And the dancers, they see that. And I'm guessing, I don't know if they knew husband and wife or if they just saw these young, naive girls with a bunch of bills in their hands, but we get swarmed. I have never been surrounded by that many half-clothed people in my entire life, but they just swarm us. And I very specifically remember kind of panicking, but also kind of being like, okay, I've seen this in the movies. I know what to do. Yeah, you just tuck that bill here and you kind of make it rain a little bit. But then I remember some of the girls, they were trying to take the money out of our hands. Like they were trying to grab the whole stack. And I had to be like, no, my money. Like, no, get out of here. Shoo. And I was getting overwhelmed. But again, I'm looking at Marissa, I'm looking at Ellie, and Marissa, she was up here. I was in the middle. Marissa was just like, this is the best night of my life. Make it rain. I want lap dances. Yeah, girl. Yeah. I've never seen anybody having more of a fun time than Marissa was. I look over at Ellie. Ellie made a mistake. Ellie should not have been there. And I start getting that like feeling of responsibility and guilt of like, I shouldn't have brought this poor girl here. I know she wanted a fun time, but like, I don't even know if she's been this drunk before, let alone been in a strip club. What have I done? So Ellie is wildly uncomfortable, and she was an easy target for these lady dancers because they grabbed the money out of her hands, and within like 5-10 minutes, she's done. Like, there's no money left because she was just like, just take it. Just get away from me. Like, I don't know about all this. So I see Ellie kind of go off to the side, and she's on her phone, and I was just like, Ellie's probably about to tap out. I can feel it. And what's so funny is I very vividly remember thinking to myself, would husband know if I just tucked that $200 into my brassiere and left with it? Because I kept thinking like, oh my God, just give me the money. I don't need a dance. I could leave right now. Give me $200. And I remember thinking that like that was one of weirdly the biggest regrets of this night was like, I should have just pocketed that money. Like they wouldn't have known if I didn't spend it on the strippers, but I don't know. It felt like etiquette to actually spend the money on the entertainment, you know, like tip your dancers, you guys, they're providing the entertainment, just go ahead and do it. However, things started to get a little bit crazier than what was even comfortable for me. And again, Mom, get out of here, get out of here. All right, you guys, something you should know about me. I am a bisexual woman. I like the guys, I like the girls, and apparently I like rich people in their 50s, because what started happening between me, Marissa, husband and wife, was this very twisted tornado of sexual energy. Mind you, there is a lot of exotic dancing going on. There is a lot of romance and money that really gets the libido going. I won't dance around the fact that I kind of came to and all of a sudden I'm making out with wife. I am making out with the wife and I'm just like, oh my God. And I remember being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like it was one of those things that again, I'm very drunk. And it was one of those things that brought me out of the drunkenness and sobered me up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And so I can't believe I'm telling this. This is why you guys have to believe me. Like I would never share this on the internet if it wasn't such a good story. And if I don't make money off of it, I swear, if I don't make my $200 back that I wasted that night from this video, I'm deleting it. I'm deleting this from the internet for forever. But I start making out with wife. I look over to husband and I said, oh my God, I just kissed your wife. And he goes, good. He goes, that's what we're here for. He goes, that's the whole point of this. He was like, we've been trying to get that to happen. And I was like, oh, okay. And then somehow I end up making out with Marissa, the coworker, and I was just like, okay, this is what's happening. And then husband gets involved, and it's just this weird, chaotic smacking of the lips. Mind you, at this point, Ellie, again, is off to the side, and she tells me, hey, I called one of our other coworkers to come pick me up. So we'll give him a name because he comes into play sort of later. So remember this guy, but we will call him Evan. So Evan and Ellie, they had this weird little will they, won't they thing going on. And it was interesting because we were all coworkers, but Ellie was about to quit sort of thing. So she comes over and she lets me know, hey, Evan is coming to pick me up because I am kind of done for the night. And when she said that, it was instantly, again, one of the most sobering things where I was just like, oh, I need to leave. Yep, I need to leave right now. And probably because I was such a drunken disaster at this point that they could have named a hurricane after me. I was so gone that even subconsciously in my brain, I knew I was like browning out or blacking out, but I was like, yep, it's time to go. My night's over. I didn't feel unsafe. I'd like to mention that. A lot of my videos lately, especially after learning I have OSDD, talking about my parts and needing safety, I was in the depths again of my mental illness. I was in that mindset of like, I don't really care anymore. Like if I die at this point, I die. And so it wasn't about like I felt unsafe or this was a dangerous situation. I literally was just like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. I'm so drunk off Veuve Clicquot and stripper juice that I'm ready to go home. And so I remember it happening all really quickly where Ellie was like, Evan's outside right now. I'm leaving right now. And I said, I'm coming with you. I need a ride home. I'm coming with you. I turned to Marissa, I turned to husband and wife, and I said, hey, I'm leaving. My ride's here, I'm going. Husband and wife were like, no, don't leave. Like, come on, stay. And I was just like, I don't feel well, you guys. I said, I went too hard. I am so sorry, but I need to leave. It was great meeting you guys. This was the best night of my life, but I need to go. But I turned to Marissa and I'm holding her by the shoulders and I was like, come with us, come with us. And she's like, no, I want to stay. And I was like, are you sure? Are you okay to stay? And she's like, I'm sure. And Ellie even comes over and she's like, are you sure you want to stay? And she was saying like, you guys, I'm fine. Like, I'm not even that wasted right now. I want to stay. Like, I'm having a good time. So she was like, nope, I'm having a good time. You guys go ahead. I will text you in the morning. And we're like, okay, be safe, girly. but have fun, girly. I'm out of here. So we go outside. Evan is outside in his Honda Accord or whatever. We hop in the car. He drives 2 seconds, 2 to 10 seconds, and I go, stop the car! Stop the car! I open the car door and I just puke everywhere. I threw up 2 bottles of Veuve Clicquot right there on the cheetah's sidewalk, and I left my entire insides out on that sidewalk right there. And I just tell Evan, I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm such a mess. And he was like, no, thank you for not getting in my car. Actually, he goes, that's actually very responsible. Also, if you saw one of my last story times of the guy who puked all over my neighbor's bathroom because he missed the toilet, even when I am such a drunken mess, I know I have the wherewithal to get it outside of people's belongings, you guys. Have some respect. It's called drunken etiquette, all right? Take notes from me when I was in the depths of despair, hitting rock bottom with my mental health. So Evan takes us home, and I don't remember anything about that car ride. Usually with traversing when I'm inebriated, I don't remember any of that. But we get home, and I remember like he walks me up to my apartment door, and I finally get to my apartment door, and that's kind of like, again, where I'm just like, oh, safety, like my brain starts calming down, the adrenaline rush is gone, and I kind of become a little bit more coherent. And I remember in that moment, Evan kind of confessed a little bit of feelings for me. And I was like, whoa, my guy, now is not the time. I just puked outside of your car and you're telling me you love me? Now is not the time. He didn't tell me he loved me by any means, but he, I think, was not taking advantage of the fact that like I might not remember it, but he kind of, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it was. Not taking advantage of me by any means. I'm shutting that down now. He wasn't trying to get into my apartment or anything. Also, Ellie was in the car waiting outside on the street with the hazard lights on. So like that wasn't even a thing. But I think what the conversation was I get very apologetic. I'm a guilty drunk. I'm a guilty person. If you guys know, if you've seen any of my videos. And so I was very much like, I'm so sorry. I got so drunk and I puked. I'm so sorry you have to see me like this. This is so embarrassing. I'm so sorry. And so his mindset was more of like no, it's not embarrassing. In fact, I love seeing you like this. In fact, I really just enjoy being around you. You're just so wonderful and awesome and beautiful. I'm fine. Okay, those are my words, not his. But I was like, okay. Well, I'll see you later this week at the shop because I'm not dealing with this right now. And I remember I went inside my bedroom and I fell asleep right on my bed. And I woke up with my boots still on my feet. I woke up in my outfit, makeup unwashed, hair unkempt, but I didn't puke anymore. So at least there's that. But you guys, the story, it doesn't end here. No. The story becomes even more unbelievable. Here's what happened next. So the morning comes and I immediately text Marissa. I was like, are you alive? What happened? Did you make it home safely? What happened the rest of the night? And so she texts me and she says, I had the best night ever. And I said, oh, elaborate. Marissa proceeds to tell me that she continued the night with husband and wife. In fact, she went back home with them, but not home to their children, not home to their livelihoods, whatever else. They took a limo to a hotel where they had a penthouse suite at this hotel. And already I'm just like, damn it. If I didn't get so drunk, I could have gone to a penthouse hotel and lived even more of the rich, luxurious sugar baby life. What a missed opportunity. But that's okay because this is why I use fake names, and hopefully she isn't watching this video. I'm about to air out a little bit of her dirty laundry. But Marissa hooked up with them. Marissa, full on, was the third in adult relations with this husband and wife couple. And she said she had a terrific time. She goes, no regrets. That was honestly something that I wanted to cross off my own bucket list. So it was well worth it. And I was just like, hell yeah, I'm so glad you had fun. I probably wouldn't have taken it that far, especially with how drunk I got, but she didn't get as drunk as I did. So like, it's all fine. And so I was like, okay, cool. So you had a good time. Like everything's okay. She's just like, oh my God, no, thank you for showing me the best night ever. And I was like, you're welcome. But also like, my nights don't actually get like that. This was a once in a lifetime thing, but thank you for thinking that of me. So next I hit up Ellie and I was just like, hey, everything okay? Like, are you home safe? Is everything good? And she was like, yeah, no, thanks for the fun night. Like things got pretty crazy there, but like, I'm glad I went. And so I was like, okay, good. She's not mad at me. Cause again, if you know my mindset, I immediately was like blaming myself of like, I shouldn't have taken her. Like this was all my fault. They're grown adults. Okay. Like they can make decisions for themselves, but she was also like, no, I had a good time. But then I also remember being weirdly like, I don't know, distant, because I was like, uh-oh, I know she has a thing for Evan, and Evan just kind of told me he has a crush on me. So that's not great, but like, we could talk about it another time in the ice cream shop. So then I'll have to see if I still have the text message, because you guys will not believe what happens next. But I was so hungover that day, I don't even know what happened. But I remember I was taking a nap. I woke up from my nap and I had 2 missed calls from Marissa and a text that said, call me back. And I was like, uh-oh, like, did she never leave the penthouse? Is she now in the trunk of the limo and needs help? Do limos have trunks? Is the question. It's a lot of space. Do they need a trunk? I don't know. But so I'm concerned and my blood pressure is rise. And so I call her back and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? What happened? She goes, you are not going to believe who just came into the ice cream shop. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Now, mind you, for background, again, this is a very nice ice cream shop. We get a lot of celebrities, actually. I'd love to do a video someday, just a silly, goofy one of like all the celebrities that I saw since I have quit that job and don't work there anymore. I can spill all the secrets. But we see celebrities all the time. And so she and I always text each other like, oh, here's who I saw. Like, here's this person who I saw. So I'm thinking like, ooh, did she see another member from BTS? Because J-Hope went to our ice cream shop one time. I wasn't there. I would have died though if I was. So that's where my brain was going. But I was like, who came into the ice cream shop? She says, JC, husband and wife just came into the ice cream shop and tipped us $100. And I was like, what? Marissa said that husband and wife came into the shop to visit us and essentially thank us for such the fun night. I guess sometime during the night we told them where we worked, because of course they're like, how do you guys know each other? And we're like, oh, we're coworkers at this ice cream shop. Oh, which location? We told them which location.
Of ice cream before the night's over. That was okay.
Oh my gosh, we'll have all the description.
Good thing they were okay people, because that probably could have ended worse, giving out our private information like that. But they came into the shop and Marissa was working and they just said, hey, we had such a fun time last night. We just want to come say hi. And like, here's our number if you guys ever want to hang out again. Like, we go out again every other month. If you guys want to see us again, let us know. They got like kid scoops of ice cream, I guess, and then put a $100 bill into the tip jar. And Marissa took a photo of it and sent it to me. And she goes, oh my God, oh my God. Again, I should have pocketed that $200 and that $100 bill when I had the chance. And so the funniest part was that Marissa was the only one working the shift at this time. I wasn't working that day, but she had to weirdly like explain it to my boss of like, oh my God, who tipped us $100? Like, we get like decent tips at this shop, but not a $100 bill. And so she had to be like, oh, just some friends of mine came in that happen to be very wealthy. And they just wanted to show our appreciation for a good job. And so our boss had to be like, I think she gave a shout out like on our 7 shifts board of like, wow, guys, we got a $100 tip. Keep up the great work. And we're like, yeah, because I went home with them and I played smoochy smoochy in a strip club with them and Ellie partied with champagne in a limo with them. But nobody could know. Nobody could know. We told some of our close friends in the shop, but we were just like, hey, we cannot tell anybody what happened last night. This is not only reputation ruining for me and Ellie and Marissa, I suppose, but nobody's gonna believe us. Nobody is gonna understand how wild and debaucherous that night actually got. And so as a little epilogue, I was like, Marissa, you got their number. Like, are you gonna go out with them again? And she was like, I don't know, maybe. Because again, she could have set up for herself a nice little sugar baby situation there. They were clearly wealthy, wealthy people who wanted to spend their money on younger girls. I don't want to say young girls. Again, these people, I'm trying to paint them in a way that I was like, they're actually really cool. They were attractive. They were, I was going to say young, but they weren't that young. They were older than we were. They were fun. And they were very, I would say, blatant about what they were looking for. I never got creepy vibes. I never got unsafe vibes. And so I was just like, honestly, like, if you did, I approve. They were pretty cool. And if they want to take me out again and feed me Veuve Clicquot and caviar, I might skip out on the strip club part, but I'd be down for all of that. Needless to say, Marissa never did hit them back up again. She was just like, nah, I'm just going to consider it a one-off thing. I crossed that off my bucket list, and that's good enough for me. And then I remembered, uh-oh, the bucket list. I crossed something off the bucket list too. I went on a limo for the first time. But how am I going to explain to people the situation in which I went on a limo for the first time? I don't think I can ever tell anybody about this ever. And alas, I just did. So now you guys know the truth. I had been on a limo before, but it was such a wild blackout night that I hope you understand why I never told you about it until now. But here's the thing, you guys. I bring up Evan and Ellie and their situation specifically because their story does not end here. Today's story time, this one's over, but I do have another story time that was also a super insane night that involves a party at my house where there was this weird love square going on, and it turned into just one of those other wacky stories that I might have to tell you guys. Because their story and my story with them does not end there. So if you guys want to hear that, make sure to comment on this video any emoji. Just comment any emoji, and that's how I know you'll want to hear that story time, and I'll make it in the future. Also because comments help, liking this video helps, subscribing helps, because if I don't make my $200 back from this video by telling you guys about this night, it's not going to be worth it. So help me out. But that's going to be it for this crazy story time. Let me know your guys' thoughts about this. If you see me differently now, I'm changed, okay? I went into trauma therapy and I'm healing all of my mental bruises, okay? But this was one crazy night that no regrets, no regrets. It is a wild LA story time that I just had to tell you guys. So let me know your thoughts down below. And if you have been in a limo, have you guys been in a limo? Comment if you've been in a limo before. I'm trying to see something because I'm convinced it's not as common as other people might think. But let me know. But you guys can follow me on social media. I am on Instagram and TikTok. I also have a talk show that we've been going live on Sundays for like little mini streams. If you want to tune into that, just go follow my JC Hosts account for more information. And I've also been live streaming here on YouTube. So try to catch one of the live streams where I'll be reacting to some of my old videos. So should be a pretty fun new series I'm about to start. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, comment anything. And Mom, sorry. But I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles! All right, today's outfit, I am wearing a Girl Scout shirt because I'm honoring the part that was a Girl Scout for many years. That part is near and dear to my heart. And I'm also just now realizing this is probably not the part I want to represent with such an inappropriate video. Yeah, I didn't think that one through. So sorry, Girl Scout JC, that you had to hear all that. Just know that when you move to LA in the future, you're in for some fun times.